Okay, we are going to quick review our talk from last week when we discussed target heart rate zones, we discussed rate of perceived exertion, and also talked about what the talk test is and how you can use all three of these things when you're doing your workouts. You are going to have to make sure that you understand these today, as after you're done with your workout, your exit ticket is going to be to reflect on where you feel you're at in terms of RPE and the talk test. So first review is going to be about heart rate zones. So as you can see here, we go from our red zone, which is 90 to 100% of our maximum heart rate. I'm showing you some of the different exercises that you can do that typically get people into the red zone. When we are talking about the orange zone, we're talking about just increasing your performance. Here's would get us there would be fast running, lifting quickly, moving quickly throughout a circuit. Then we move down to green, which is to improve your conditioning. Today is going to be a resistance day, so you can push yourself into this orange and red zone. Some of you are going to be in green, and that is more than fine. But the expectation is going to be to push yourself fast enough that you're getting to this high end of green and into your orange and red. Blue zone is just for basic endurance. I just went walking for about 2 hours yesterday around the trails by the river, and I was in blue the entire time. I kept my heart rate monitor running and downloaded my graph, and I was in blue. And then finally, that gray zone, that is where you're going to be warming up and recovering. So as you get through your dynamic warm up today, really think about being in that gray zone. So again, when you're working out, keep your heart rate within a certain zone of numbers so you can easily control the intensity of your workout. Now, when we are talking about the RPE scale, again, this is a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being nothing at all. That's how you feel when you'd be sitting in a chair. And 10 is very, very heavy. This is how you're going to feel at the end of a very difficult max effort activity. So again, as you can see by just looking at the emojis on the right and the colors and numbers on the left, this is going to coincide with the colors we just talked about in the heart rate zones. Finally, we have our talk test. So our talk test is going to go from light to moderate, heavy, very heavy to very, very heavy. And again, that very, very heavy is going to be your max effort. Light is going to not feel like anything at all. And that would be something that you could sustain for hours at a time. So when we're talking about the talk test during the gray zone, you're going to be able to speak in fluid sentences. You're near in the moderate zone, you are going to have be like 1 or 2 sentences at a time. Heavy zone, which is going to be your green zone. You'll be able to get a few words out to maybe a sentence at a time, but again, not have a full-on conversation. Orange zone is going to be a word or two at a time. And finally, when you're in that red zone, you are going to have a really hard time speaking and be able to answer with one-word responses. So how are these tied together? So how we talked about them last week when we did this, we talked about the gray zone. Your RP is going to be 0, 1, or 2, and your talk test is going to be a fluid sentence or two. When you're in the blue zone, you're 60 to 69%. Through RPE is going to be a 3 to 4, and you're speaking 1 or 2 sentences at a time. And you notice as you move up in zones, your RPE increases and the number of words that you can speak decreases until you get up to that red when you are 90 to 100% of your max heart rate. You're at a 9 or 10 on that RPE scale, and you can hardly speak at all. So during your workout today, you have to make sure that you are reflecting on your RPE or talk test. I'm not caring really which one you use, but you are going to have to reflect on one or the other. And you need to tell me where you're at in regards to your zone. So if you have a way to monitor your heart rate, keep checking your zones and let me know about that as well. I will have that option on there. But the majority of you are going to be using RPE or the talk test. So again, heart rate zones are using this scale. Your talk test is how many words you can speak at a time. And finally, your rate of perceived exertion or your RPE is going to be the emoji scale or your number scale. Have fun.